If I were to draw a river, just a doodle kind of drawing, what do you think it would look like? You draw it in the air for me? How would you draw? Like this? Yeah? Did it work? Did I make it go away? I'm going to do it again. It's very blue. There we go. Is that a river? Looks like a river. Rivers, they curve, right? They have kind of an irregular course. They have a beginning and an end. If this were the Mississippi River, that would be Lake Itasca up there, way up in northern Minnesota, and then emptying all the way down near New Orleans into the Gulf of Mexico. It's very important to the whole community all along, I don't know, 100 miles on either side of either bank, right? And not just the human community, not even just the living community, not just the fish and the insects and the birds and the plants, but the rocks and the waters, all are part of this community of the river. Our lives are like that, right? They have a beginning. They take an unpredictable course. They have an end. They affect the place they move through. It affects them. The water I brought today and poured in a little while ago was from my kitchen tap, which is a place that symbolizes my personal life, my time with my family, the things that we do together. I'm new in the congregation. I'm moving from that personal life to here, Santa Rosa, bringing what formed there to here. And in the words of the poet John O'Donohue, what's next is an adventure. He writes, I would love to live like a river flows, carried by the surprise of its own unfolding. So this is one way to draw a river, and it's a great way to draw a river. It makes a lot of sense, right? That's what we think of, and it's true. And there's another way, kind of like this. People who study rivers, they think this way also. A river looks like a tree. Turn it upside down, it looks like roots. You can go ahead and switch to the other. I know you need a little switch over time, Michael, to show the new slides. And people who study rivers, study the water on the surface of the earth, called hydrologists, would say, oh yeah, that's a river. A river is all those things, not just the squiggle, but all the tiny little tributaries. If this is the Mississippi River, and here it is, yes, it starts up at Lake Itasca, a little very small lake, and runs all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, but it wouldn't grow to be a mile wide in between if it weren't for all of this. This is all a part of the river. And the person who drew this traced all these rivers, gave us lots of ones that they have the name, like the Platte and the Arkansas. I did not know until this week that there's something called the Canadian River in North Texas, and so on, the Ohio and the Missouri, of course. And you can look it up. There are other pictures that I didn't have permission for, so I didn't use them today, but that go into even more, the finest of detail, tiny little intermittent streams running up in the mountains and becoming all a part of what we call the Mississippi River. Now, in the first picture, my little squiggle there, the Mississippi is just kind of in that, center right part of the center east part of the country. But here you can see the Mississippi River is half the country. All of those things, all being a part of one being. All those tributaries. And of course, our lives are like that. Others people's lives make us, ours make them. So that water that I brought from my kitchen sink is so much more than just me and my family. It's all those influences, not only the physical ones of where does that water, water from the tap come from anyway? Comes from the sky, comes from the ocean, comes from Hetch Hetchy and all water that flows into it, but also all the things that make me me. The art I've seen, and the faraway town in Latvia that I don't even know the name of, that my family came from, and great-great-grandparents whose names I might know, but I don't know anything about how they shaped the further generations that then shaped me. All the things I've read, all the people I've known, more influences than I can possibly count, especially since, like me, like the river tributaries here, they each have their own tributaries. So that's what I poured into our bowl this morning, all of that. And now we meet, we become a part of each other's rivers, carried by the surprise of our own unfolding.
Man can never step in the same river twice, said the ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus. It's not the same river, and he's not the same man. This is as true of congregations and of people as it is of rivers and just about everything else in existence. Despite appearances of permanence and solidity, we exist in various states of flux and flow. Life itself is movement, change. That's why we often compare life to a river, right? Because it flows, not always peacefully or smoothly, mind you, but always moving, always changing. And this community is not the same community it was last year, or even last Sunday, or what it will be next Sunday, yet it persists. Like every community, this community has a unique identity and culture and structures, patterns, and ways of doing things that give it shape and continuity over time. Like the banks of a river, these structures support and channel the flow of life here at UUCSR. And these structures are in turn shaped by the flow of life that flows inside and beyond this community. Last night, Amy told me that the course of the Mississippi River has changed dramatically over time. Not just the water, but the banks themselves, and all those tributaries probably too. Scientists refer to the turbulent meandering of the Mississippi River. I love that, turbulent meandering. It has transformed the floodplain over centuries. The river flows, and so do the banks, in an endless dance of mutual transformation. So too the banks of a religious community change over time, sometimes slowly, very slowly, for those of us who like to see change, and sometimes swiftly and dramatically, sometimes traumatically so. This community has meandered from Stony Point and Todd. When I first heard that, I thought, oh, I guess their minister was named Todd. But no, that was the cross street. It meandered from there to this downtown location, shaping each building it inhabited and the surroundings, the neighborhoods, bringing energy, spiritual nourishment, and its commitments to love and justice, your commitments to love and justice. And this community has flowed online too, where it continues in spaces unseen but very real and important. And this community has in turn been nourished and transformed by tributaries that add new energy, new ideas, and new life along the way, shaping the banks and sometimes also the course of this community. Sometimes the waters are smooth and lazy, allowing us to let go of our fears and be carried by that greater power that Jonathan so beautifully described. And sometimes the waters are rough and choppy, causing anxiety, confusion, conflict, and doubt. Sometimes tributaries break off to head in other directions for a spell or for good. Sometimes the banks are damaged and need repair, or they grow too tall, preventing new tributaries from joining the flow. Like the people that form the living waters of this community, the banks too need tending. The structure of the community, the institution. Shared ministry, the ministry that we all do together, is tending to all of it. The river and its banks, grieving the losses, welcoming the new, celebrating life, helping to create beloved community inside and beyond these walls. As Reverend Amy and I enter the flow of this community, we have much to learn about its culture and patterns, structures, and ways of doing things. Like all newcomers, we are navigating new waters, informed by our own histories and experiences. We do not yet know where all the big rocks lie under the surface, or why the eddies swirl the way they do, although we are learning. We are learning. Thank you for helping us get oriented. And we are getting to know you. We had a worship retreat last weekend, a board retreat this weekend, and lots of smaller interactions, and it has been such a delight. We keep sharing with each other how delighted we are and how delightful you are. Like all newcomers, Amy and I bring to this community different gifts and personalities, perspectives and passions, experiences and flaws. Luckily, hopefully, we don't have the same flaws all the time. Hopefully, we can balance each other out. What we bring will shape this community, and this community will shape us. When I poured in my water today, after a very busy week here at UUCSR, I reflected on my willingness to jump in. I am somebody who likes to jump in with both feet. And even though I live on the peninsula 85 miles away, and I have another job and a family, and I won't always be available, I have already made the leap. I am here with you. I have jumped in. I'm in the river, and I'm so glad to be here. Like this river, I'm deep in places and frothy and excitable and shallow in others. Like this river, I need the structure and support of religious community to channel my flow toward mutual thriving. A structure that we inherit and shape together with an eye to the horizon and a willingness to evolve with the needs and gifts of future generations. My friends, we live in times of rapid and accelerating change. The waters roil, don't they? We wonder if the structures will hold. And if they don't, what will happen? What will hold us together? Who will we become? And I don't know the answers to these questions, and Amy doesn't either, even if she says she does. Right? But I do know this, we do know this, we're all in it together. The river, the banks, the mutual dance of transformation. We're in it together, and I'm so grateful.